But for this week's special, we've got a aspiring Formula 4 driver from my hometown of Sheffield in Rowan Campbell-Pilling. We're going to talk to him about his upcoming season for 2025, his new team, and just how it's been on his journey so far and his long-term aspirations. Welcome to the show, Rowan.
Hello, Chris and Tom. Thank you so much for having me. This has been in the sort of making for a while now, so excited to get it underway, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's been a busy time for you. Just announced a new team, so that's kept you busy over the last few weeks. How's that PR trip been?
I mean, the last sort of month really has been just so full on. Pre-season testing's in full swing at the moment. You know, it is very non-stop. So like today I've been in the simulator, I've been training, I've been over at the team who are based in Dronfield. New team for this year being JHR Developments. Cracking team. They've got, you know, some incredible personnel working behind the scenes with them. We've known Steve who owns JHR for probably 5 or 6 years now. So after last year we were approached by every team on the grid, which is just incredible, and to have those sort of options around you. And sort of Steve persuaded us to go their way. There are a few factors in that, obviously, with it being so close, a stone's throw away from Sheffield, and they've got a state-of-the-art simulator at HQ as well, which we utilise an awful lot and I use pretty much every day at the moment. So I'm in a pretty good place, and I think we're in a strong place for this season for sure.
Oh, that was really good to hear. You mentioned a team with a bit of a decent establishment in Formula 4 already. How does it feel joining a team that's been in that like constructors, that team's championship fight for the last, 3, maybe even 4 seasons? That must be exciting but daunting at the same time to be representing a team that's done that well in F4.
They've got some great history. Obviously won it with Matt Rees back in the McGale. Got very close with winning it with Joseph Loke and Deegan in the new generation car as well. So they've had some really, really strong results in Formula 4 over the years, and hopefully we can carry that on and get them their first sort of championship win in the new generation car.
Yeah, but really good. And how would you say the transition's been from moving from your old team to the new team? How does that process feel for someone at your level?
It wasn't too bad, to be honest. We've known Steve and some of the JHR boys for a long time now, so it was more sort of a welcome back more than a welcome sort of thing. So it was relatively simple to get settled in. It's, like I said, just a stone's throw away, so I can pop down there whenever and meet everyone and get settled in, which went really well. And now we've been in pre-season testing up and down the country all over with each other. So yeah, it's been really good, and yeah, I'm glad we've settled in and bedded in nice and early.
Nice. You've sort of alluded to it already, but it'd be good to go through your journey so far, how you got into racing and what's brought you to this point.
Yeah, of course. So I started on 2 wheels originally, on little trials bikes when I was 3 or 4 years old, so really, really young. Just going over obstacles, and I've got fond memories of travelling up and down the country competing, which I presume is probably where I get my competitive edge. You know, not that I'm a competitive person or anything, but I do have to beat people. That's one for the quote book, isn't it?
Come to the territory.
And then probably moved to 4 wheels about 6 or 7 years old. I had a go at a family friend's indoor go-karting track up in Pontefract at the time. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore, but I think that's probably where I got the bug for 4 wheels, and sort of haven't really looked back since. Went through the ranks of karting, having an awful lot of success in junior and senior categories. We won the Daniel Ricciardo Series RS 100 Junior UK Championship in 2021.
Snappy.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so won that in 2021, and then we had some great success in Junior X30 and Senior X30 and Senior Daniel Ricciardo Series as well.
That's awesome. It's cool, like hearing a name like Daniel Ricciardo tied to a series that kind of far down the ladder. Like, do you see much of bigger, more senior motorsport interested even at that lower level?
Yeah, I think certainly some of your idols and some really big names in motorsport do a great job of supporting grassroots motorsport. So whether that's karting or putting academies in place within cities, just small things. But they do really make a big difference to getting new young children and kids into motorsport.
You mentioned it's interesting seeing your idols running things like that. Who's up there for you in motorsport?
Verstappen has to be one. We've just had a Maxter class.
Yeah.
The weekend in Suzuka.
That's a pun. That's the kind of pun we like here on Back
Yeah,
to the
it
Grid.
sounds like one of our episode titles.
We obviously got to witness some greatness there, really, at Suzuka, which was just incredible. You know, it shows even with probably the third, fourth best car on the grid, he's still capable of winning, which just shows what caliber of driver he is. He is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, his approach, his dedication, the way he trains like a machine is just everything is so well planned and very meticulous with Max. And then I've got a few, to be fair. I've got Max, I'd say Colin McRae, obviously big rally star back in his day.
Yeah.
In fact, he was just at one with the car, and his car control was just phenomenal. You know, there's no other way to put it. He never really makes an input. It's always corrections to what the car's doing rather than, you know, big, aggressive, tell the car what to do. No, he's sort of like the car's telling him what he needs to do. It's just, yeah, it's incredible to watch.
Do you feel that you take bits of what you've learned from people like that and apply it to your own driving style then?
Slightly. I think rally's a bit different in terms of it's obviously off-road most of it. So, yeah, I think it's harder to apply that sort of thing, but certainly looking at Max Verstappen's driving style and how he likes a car and trying to, you know, he can clearly drive a very, very pointy, fast car, which is something that as a driver, you look up to the best drivers in Formula One and you want to do what they can do. So you naturally sort of gravitate towards that, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned you've been testing recently. How's that been going so far?
Very well. I've had probably 5 or 6 days in the car now, back this year. I mean, we're at Alton Park yesterday. We were at Silverstone for 2 days last week, doing the media days, Snetterton, another 2 days at Silverstone. Yeah, it's been pretty manic recently.
Am I right in saying that you spent a little bit of time at Zandvoort as part of testing as well this season?
We were at Zandvoort the week before that. So, you know, steady really, you know, lots of free time, lots of downtime. You know. But it's been going really well. Pre-season testing's always hard to read into because you don't know who's doing what. People are playing games, people are running underweight, that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? No matter what level of motorsport you're at, I bet you get that smoke and mirrors element.
Oh, big time. You know, some teams haven't filled all their seats, so they want to look faster than they are. So they'll stick all their drivers underweight and go and blast around and put a time in that's just unrealistic. So, but no, it's the true teller will be Donington, and I'm sure we'll be strong by them for sure.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
What's it like having a track like Zandvoort in the calendar? Because obviously it was added last year, wasn't it? So you experienced it in a race scenario, but what is it like actually getting to go overseas to be able to partake in a race, even if it is a British Championship?
On the race weekend, you get a lot of Dutch fans, and they are just a different breed. They are so into it. It's amazing. Like, the British fans are amazing, don't get me wrong, and like we always have an incredible fan base at Donington, for example, just because it's an hour down the motorway from home for us. So it's always a different sort of atmosphere, and not necessarily a bad thing to have that change. As a track, it's really, really fun. To race on, it's not amazing, just because there's an awful lot of dirty air. It's quite high speed for us. Like, you don't get much slow speed corners bar the chicane, and to follow in an F4 car, you do have quite a bit of dirty air, so it's hard to follow closely. So that can be slightly difficult on the race weekend, but I think what you lose in dirty air, the fans make up for, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the calendar for this season. It's just like a who's who of top tracks in the UK, and obviously Zandvoort as well. It's like
incredible.
Donington, Silverstone, Snetterton, Thruxton, Alton, Knockhill. Like, Knockhill must be amazing.
Knockhill is so good.
Do you have a favourite on that calendar?
I've got 3. I got asked this question earlier, and I've got 3. And I literally spent 5 minutes narrowing it down, and I couldn't go any lower. So, yeah. In this order, Donington, Alton Park, Knockhill.
Nice.
Yeah, Donington, because it's like a stone's throw away from Sheffield again, only an hour down the motorway, so we've always got incredible support there. Alton Park, because it's so tight and technical, but it's also got high-speed, flowy corners, and it's very high-risk, high-reward sort of place. If you're not driving well, it does punish you sort of thing. And then Knockhill, just because of the elevation changes, it is just a nuts track. It's so cool. You know, you roll off the brake getting into turn 1, you go bang over the curb, 2 wheels, or 4 if you don't hit it right. It's just, Knockhill is incredible. Just a shame it's so far away.
Yeah. On a quick one on Donington, national circuit or Grand Prix circuit? I know there's not that much difference, but
both. If I had to pick one, I'd go GP, but just because the GP, you still get a chicane.
Yeah, true.
Everyone's like, I like the chicane the other way. Well, a chicane's a chicane.
Yeah.
And you get 2 hairpins. What's not to love?
Yeah.
No place to overtake.
Great
Right?
overtaking spots. Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then if you mess it up into the first hairpin, you've got a chance to get it back into the second anyway. So,
Yeah.
you're laughing really.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of simulators, you mentioned you've been doing some simulator time and the kind of facilities at your new team. Is that kind of common at that level? Is that standard that teams in that championship will all have simulators, or is that something only the top teams tend to have?
No, simulators are pretty common in almost every form of motorsport now. It's crackers, but however, the caliper of simulators range. So JHR's sim is just phenomenal. It's incredible. It is proper state of the art stuff. You're feeling every little bump in the road. You're feeling every gear shift. It is like driving the real car, bar the G-force.
That's really cool. What about this year? What's the aim this year? Is there like a realistic target that you're setting between you and the team as to like what's a successful year this year?
I think my goals for this year are to win. I think that is what I want to achieve, but also to enjoy it and have a great time while doing it. There's no point being miserable and winning because that's not fun.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything you'll do differently this season compared to last season? Obviously, you had a pretty solid run in the Rookie Cup last year, but you've got that year under your belt now. Have you identified things that you might do differently this season to maybe be able to take that next step up as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, last year purely for me was a learning year, and learning and absorbing knowledge and looking at the fast kids and see what they were doing better than me and trying to apply that to my own driving, which we did very, very well, especially in the second half of the season. But also we made those rookie mistakes, which you would expect a rookie to make. You are going to jump a start at some point. You are going to get a track limits penalty at some point. But it was just very much highlighted because we were very fast at the time. You are going to miss a grid box at some point in your career, and it's just a shame you did it on P2 at Donington.
Yeah.
But no, I think there was very much a spotlight at points last year, and the rookie mistakes were very much highlighted because we were not racing rookies, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you picked up rookie wins, though, and you even got on the outright podium a couple of times from what I remember. So that's impressive in itself in, what is essentially a spec series. And I know, obviously, the teams put a lot of work into eking out every inch of performance that they can out of it. But, you ultimately, in theory, everyone's driving the same car, right? So to be able to, in your rookie season, get on a podium that's, 20-odd driver field is pretty impressive.
In my third race.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And how old were you at that point? Like still 16, maybe just 17?
17.
Yeah.
No, it was a stellar year last year, and I would go back and change a few things, but it's not a bad first attempt.
Yeah. And then what about beyond Formula 4? Like I'm sure you'll be like a lot of drivers in your position, the long-term aspiration is probably Formula 1, but how does that look for you right now? Like what's the long-term plans?
So my dream and my goal is to be a Formula 1 world champion. I wouldn't want to go to Formula 1 if I didn't think I could be competitive or win. I race to win and do the best for the team, myself and everyone around me, and also to fly the flag for Sheffield at an incredibly high level. And that is my goal. On a slightly shorter term scale, probably GB3 next year. JHR had a great result with John Bennett last year being vice champions. Mm-hmm. So looking to the future, that's probably the next step for us next year.
We've got a couple of questions from our Patreon we'll maybe dive into.
Bring it on.
Kilowog asks, I'd love to hear more about the human element of growing up racing. What's it like to have to spend so much time away from friends and family? And when did you know that the track was home and that you wanted to make those sacrifices?
That's a really good question. I mean,
starting with the deep ones.
Yeah, that's no, I've never been asked that sort of thing before. That's I just sit here and debate my life for a minute. I think you always do make sacrifices, but you don't see it as sacrifices because you enjoy what you do, sort of thing. I've missed countless friends' birthday parties and stuff over weekends, and while I've been away racing, that sort of thing. And I can't come out tonight. I can't come to this party or whatever. And I'm at the age now where people are going to the pub or house parties or you name it. And I'm sorry, I'm away on Friday night, that sort of thing. I'm just at Brands Hatch, sorry. But no, I'd rather have an early night and stay in and then wake up early and go to the gym in the morning, sort of thing, or be at a racetrack than go to parties, really. That's not my sort of scene. But no, I think you do make sacrifices, but also some of your best friends are at these racetracks all the time. Yeah. You all sort of grow up together in karting, then you all sort of make a jump into cars together, and so most of my friends are in the paddock as we speak. So yeah. It's not it's not the hardest thing in the world to do.
Is there anyone in the paddock that you would kind of like to see? I'm thinking like Nico Lewis sort of vibes. You know, we always had these stories of they grew up karting together and then ended up teammates at Mercedes fighting for a world title. Is there anyone in the paddock that you think would be like an ideal person for you to go on a similar journey with, like someone you'd like to sort of be racing against as friends, but and as competitors from now until you get to the top of your careers?
I mean, I get on with everyone in the paddock, really. There's no one that I can't turn around and go, maybe not, I don't know. I get on with everyone, so I wouldn't have a problem if any of them were on the journey for all the way.
That's fair. Diplomatic answer to not upset anyone on the grid.
No, not at all. If I didn't like someone, I would say.
We've got another one from Patreon from Wes. Hey man, at the ripe old age of 18, how have you found a balance between meeting your aspirations to be a race car driver, but then also school and just spending life as a kid and a young adult?
So, first of all, school racing balance is very much juggling. To put it bluntly, I'm in my final year of A-levels now, so I've got my exams coming up this summer, so that's sort of in the background looming over me like awkward smile moment sort of thing. Yeah, just keeping on top of as much as I can for as long as I can. You know, I'm doing 2 very coursework based subjects in art and DT, so wherever I am in the world or in the country, I can always pop open a sketchbook or a laptop at night in a hotel room and crack on with some work and not fall too far behind sort of thing. So that's a positive, I guess. And I think, what was the other side of it?
I think it was more along the lines of the other question as well, just balancing your social life and growing up outside of motorsport, like, you know, just general life growing up, really.
You know, I've still got my childhood best friends that I'm friends with, and we all go on walks and stuff and do stuff normal 18-year-olds do sort of thing, but well, to a point. Enjoying life when I'm not at racetracks and enjoying life even more when I am.
There was one little bit on the end of Wes's as well that I didn't mention, and that is Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield.
Oh, just Sheffield. Again, very diplomatic.
I'm Sheffield through and through, right? And I've done work with both clubs previously, and I couldn't pick one or the other. They're both so strong in their own respects, and I'm a full champion for Sheffield through and through. So
very diplomatic.
Another question from Paul, who says, what got you interested in racing in the first place? And connected to that, do you think with a lot of racing not being on free television these days, it potentially will affect a number of people wanting to go down that route in the future?
I think we'll start with the final part. British F4 is live streamed.
Nice.
On ITV and on YouTube.
There we go.
This year.
Yeah.
No excuse.
Race 1 and Race 3's on Sunday. Race 1's televised and then replayed to you guys on the screen. And then our Race 3 is televised live as well. So that is free viewing.
There we go.
There you go. Easy first win. But if you can't watch Formula 1, it's all right. You've got some better racing to watch.
Exactly. I bet there'll be more overtakes than Suzuka, that's for sure.
Always. That's a guarantee. I've forgotten the other part of the question now. That's really bad.
What got you interested in racing in the first place?
I think probably thinking back to 6 or 7-year-old Rowan's mind, it was probably the speed, the going round corners element, really trying to beat other people element. I think all of it bundled into one. I think I've caught the bug sort of first time I hopped in the kart, really. And from there, I was set on what I wanted to do. I think watching fast cars go around in funny shaped circles on television didn't help the case either. So no, looking at you know, your likes of Vettel, Hamilton, Rosberg winning over the years and watching that on TV and then going karting and trying to win myself. Everything just sort of adding up like that, really. I'd say that's sort of what got me into it.
Nice. Paul also wants to know Henderson's relish, yay or nay?
Yay. Anything else is wrong.
For anyone who is not from Sheffield or maybe Yorkshire, Henderson's relish is, well, it's a relish. It's a. I'm not even going to name the other one. There's another one out there. It's a famous bottle in an orange label. I'm not going to name the other one because I won't dignify it with its existence. Henderson's is the way to go.
Hendo's is the way forward.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll take your word for it.
As long as you're not using the other one, Chris, that's fine.
This would be like if you asked me a question about Bovril, and I'd have to have an answer for that, but no one else would have a clue.
Well, that is it for this. Thank you very much for spending your time with us, Rowan, and answering some questions both from us and our lovely patrons. Thank you very much for that.
No, thank you so much for both having me and tolerating me for half an hour.
Good luck flying the Sheffield flag this season.
Best of luck
Thank you
this
so
year.
much. Thank you. That means a lot.